Kaleidoscope showcase, and we're really excited about this entire program. And I'm going to give you a little background about it, okay? The total title is called Kaleidoscope, the College Dance Arts and Music Program. And the reason it's College Dance is because that's my grandfather. And my grandfather came to the United States. Well, he didn't come exactly to the United States. He was in Russia, and he played the cornet, which is like a trumpet, for the Tsar's Army Band. The Tsar's Army Band decided that he had to stay in the army. He couldn't go back and take care of his mother in their little village. And when he heard that they were going to keep him in the band, he realized he had to get out of Russia. And so in 1903, he said goodbye to his mother, knowing he would never, ever see her again, and left Russia. And he snuck out, and he finally got to a waterport, and he got on the first ship he could get on. He stowed away, and he had no idea where the ship was going. And it turned out to be a Spanish ship. It was going to Argentina, not to the United States. So he wound up going to Argentina. He learned to speak some Spanish, and he herded cattle in order to make money. And after a year, he had enough money to pay for passage to come into the United States. And he came in 1905. But his love of music, his knowledge about playing the trumpet, he passed that on to my father. And my father passed on that heritage to me. At the same time, my husband Gary, who some of you know, or knew, he was a big fan of music, but not the kind my father was listening to. He was contemporary. And back then, in the 1960s and 70s, it was the Beatles and Elvis and that whole crew, okay? So the arts have been part of my life ever since I can remember. Well, in 1974, my father passed away. And in his will, he put some money designated for music and the arts. And for years and years, my mother, who survived him, tried to figure out what to do. And she never did anything. She put it in her will that I would then take care of this inheritance. And so that's what I did. I looked at different options, and fortunately, I was on staff at HopeWorks. And it dawned on me one day, HopeWorks needs a music and arts program. And that's how it started. I had conversations with Dan, so I want to thank Dan for being so supportive from the beginning. And then we put together an advisory committee. And you'll hear more about the advisory committee, but I want to thank Kira and Denise and Sakina and Jan Lexus, because we started meeting and we met for almost a year and a half before we really had the program that we wanted. And eventually, we got here to today. So I want to congratulate the two people who are the first graduates of our program, who have accomplished so much. We're so proud of you. I want to thank Dan, I want to thank Homework, and I want to thank the advisory committee. Okay, Dan, it's yours.
Okay, so. What a legacy. So, for the folks who are hearing about Kaleidoscope for the first time, especially the proportion of adults, right, here is the opportunity, right? After today, tomorrow, you get an email with a link to apply to the next round of this program. It's Troy and Frank. Frank, who, by the way, is on his way from work at Shell right now. He'll be here in a moment. But Troy and Frank, first, let me say thank you to them. Before you clap, let me tell you why, right? We had never done this before. Troy and Frank took the risk to build something, put their aspirations on the line, and build something that now we're going to be able to grow the program in round two. So, Troy and Frank, round of applause for you. Secondly, you've heard about the advisory committee. Advisory committee members, would you just raise your hands so we can see where you are? All right, round of applause for them. And just like Troy and Frank were the initial two folks in this program, each one, as you hear about the program, had mentors to help them get there. Lisa and Veronica. Veronica can't be here today, sadly, but Lisa, could you just raise your hands so folks do? Now, what is this, right? So, picture, now I'm really, with due respect to anyone that's over 30 here, I'm not talking to you, right? And this is for the young adults. So, many young adults, right? Picture, many of us humans have artistic dreams, have a creative drive, right? But so often, we're told that the only way to satisfy that creative drive is to hide it in the basement or put it in the garage. Does that make sense? Or do it, okay, I see a bunch of nodding heads, right? And, like, to put that creative drive away. Does that make sense? And the legacy that Carol just talked about is the idea is that creativity can be a key part of learning a living. It can be part of how you support yourself, but it takes work, right? It's hard. You got to do it. And so Kaleidoscope and the legacy that Carol talked about, coming from Russia, I believe, right? I'm fluent here, was what if young adults had the opportunity while they're at Hopewise to work with a mentor to help explore their creative skills, help them understand how to use it to build their, not just a hobby, not just something to do in the basement or the garage, but to build a career using that creativity in different ways. What if they had the mentorship? And what if they had money? What if they had up to $500 to build a plan of what equipment, what classes, what other things do you, what membership do you need to build that skill, to make it professional? And then take those skills, put together, and build something that they can use to build a career using their creativity. So you're going to see some of that today. But for those of you who are here today and watching it, that's kind of what is on offer. Does that make sense when you get the link to apply tomorrow? Is a chance to talk about what you want to do. Be paired with a mentor who understands the field, understands what it is to be a creative professional. Does that make sense? To help you grow it. And then also have the funding to get the tools and supplies and support that you need. That's what this program promises. So I see a bunch of nodding heads. So I'm going to see those applications when the link comes out tomorrow, right? So that's it. All right, so what's going to happen next? You're going to get to see Troy and Frank share a little bit about what they've done. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy. Troy's going to present his work and his thinking, and then he's going to open the questions for the audience. Now, just to be clear, this is not shocking. So Troy's going to present his work, and I'll encourage you to ask questions about his motivation or why he made those choices, right? That's the kind of question we want to understand Troy's decisions as a creative professional. So Troy, you were the first to join the Kaleidoscope program and do the work. You're the first to present. One more round of applause for Troy.
Everyone, my name is Troy Johnson, and with the help of the Kaleidoscope Network, I'm fine for them. I was able to fulfill a dream project of mine, which is to spearhead and start the thinking for happy for parents. So for a bit of backstory, CEO of TAP, Andrew, I was a business person since I started my college career at Drexel. He had a venue that was opened up in Chinatown not too long after I was Drexel, and he's been in contact. I've been helping him market his and advertising events and goals in his venue that he did in the city. And he wanted to reach a broader audience and put in the center of both Drexel University and North China. And he wanted to open that up to a newer audience for a tournament, and one of the more popular games that we wanted to decide was Ultimate, and for someone to help kind of like bridge between like chat and also this demographic, so he reached out to me. So the task was fairly simple. We went to increase engagement, and our way of going about that was to go into the new venue, take photos, look around the surrounding neighborhood, see if any new restaurants or other forms of entertainment that would be of interest to anyone who was like either in the area or was interested in the game itself, but always willing to like in Philadelphia. And there was a new venue, an Asian market which featured like a ramen bar, boba, Asian snacks that were too popular with like grocery stores, and I wanted to showcase that and also bring in a new target demographic of which is college kids, because that's like what makes up both like the population of University City and also like usually goes to these kind of things. The action was to use a social media marketing campaign. The biggest hurdle that I found out with the interview was that people that he was marketing towards were all the people who already knew about that. So it was kind of like you would have his regular customers, however, he wasn't really getting much of her interest. And this is like an older gentleman, he doesn't really like understand that social media that much. So from there I took over his Twitter page and I made a series of graphics focused out to community leaders in the scene and also also influence as well. Once I found enough interest, or brought enough interest, I was able to like create everything and make it into a kind of cohesive video prior to the game like being called the after party. That's party because it's both an acronym for TAP and also because it's exactly 1 week after for the time. out she's not doing it right now. I think I'm going to push a bit on Blanca for inside the guidance. She's still talking to football because he's in the marketing thing. She's all what's trying out. For the adults, starting I want to say around June 20th, there were only 12 people registered, and since I took over for the marketing campaign, and he said they were like not only like card people that, but just almost get 6 catch-ups. Kind of worried right now.
Oh, you check your main screen. Looks like the connection. Oh, there you go. Looks like it just muted.
We got the top players with great reviews. They enjoyed their time there, and since then we had it fucking all over the public, which is a good platform. We brought it up to 17,000 impressions since the marketing campaign began. Again, just really grateful for the Kaleidoscope program for allowing me to have an advance that we use to both get a UPC and a dope subscription. And using those tools that I was able to create something that I wanted to do for everyone.
All right. And Troy, before I open it up to questions, just congrats. Like you really did what Kaleidoscope envisioned. You took your artistic sensibilities, you took your artistic things, and didn't just do it to do it, but used it to really generate results for a real life business. So one more round of applause for Troy. All right, so who has questions for Troy about how he did it, his results, his inspiration, other questions? Thanks.
How's it going, Troy? First of all, great job on the presentation. The video was excellently edited. You got to tell me what the song is after as well. My question for you is kind of what was the biggest roadblock you had along your journey in trying to get more impressions and just bring more people to the program?
As you know, college students are broke. So the biggest hurdle was because we had to kind of like we committed to like turn over whatever the venue was. People were just kind of like oh, I don't know if we can get it. Then I'll just wait until let's see like who else is going to do that. Just typical things. So funny enough, it was like once I like we said video when I like showcase like bigger names, like even more bigger names TV side of like then. So I would be like, I don't know, I'll see what I'm doing. I'll be intent to like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. So I guess that would be the biggest problem.
Good job again.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Other please.
Is this the only thing you label college?
Not per se. Actually, originally, I was doing commercial programs to revamp my portfolio website. But once the opportunity came with Andrew, I realized like that'd be more of a showcase thing. But I was able to do like also what classical programming could do for that as well.
Can you sort of briefly describe how did you interact with your mentor?
So every week when I work with Blanca, kind of get like up there like what I'm doing and future of how can I make this like more professional looking? How can I get this like even broader audience to people who are maybe not afraid of to like get broader interest like in this event? And through her like insight, I was able to create things like cohesive advertising and also just really like have fun with just the creative process. So Angie like definitely like challenging me with like asking like why people haven't like signed up yet and just trust me and through her guidance and through outreach I was able to could have been like a very in a bad like not possible I think we garnered around $2,000 that day, and the goal was to get like that.
But you should definitely, when you talk this up, like when you talk and in the interviews and things like that, that's really great. What you had was so thorough well together. What kind of platforms or techniques did you use to create the materials that you did to market?
For the most part, Adobe Photoshop was my best friend in the next endeavor. And for the video itself, I used DaVinci Resolve. Well, just accomplish the goal. Overall workflow, but once I'm computer creative was very easy to use. My biggest hurdle was just like making sure that like both it's like eye catching and also like kind of easy to use. If social media was going to be like my main platform for my advertising, I want somebody to be able to read it, understand what's happening, and then like go on by the day like the work.
If you go through multiple trials and errors, you will make things and remember the
You would say multiple trials and errors. It was definitely the creative process did take longer at first until like at first I was going for like a more player control team because I wanted to keep like the Independence Day kind of aesthetic to it, but I figured that it would just be better just keep it real like I'm doing and also keep in mind with the other peers that was happening for I feel like the futuristic
Has your client booked a second event yet?
the client is definitely facing the benefits of my hard work.
This is part of the program, is leveraging it so that you make money as well as your client.
Yes, but as of right now, there is some really new I think this might be a very thing. Pretty much success for it, and definitely now that more people know about the venue itself, it's definitely from using the success.
Good job.
I definitely agree. People participate in possible on phone video. I'm not a gamer, but I follow out games. I guess that would be like big names for gaming. And how did you get them involved? Was that your part or?
Oh yes. Well, I've been playing this game so for around 5 years now, and kind of like garnered both like skill and also doing some opportunities stuff. I kind of got my name out there. In doing so, I've been like kind of working closely with the community, whether it be like in Philadelphia or in South Jersey itself. I'm creating graphics for our own tournament series, and it's funny enough, even though like these are like bigger names, people with like 10,000 followers or kind of like a notoriety about them, like it's actually like from my own program.
Two more questions.
So, you've been to a restaurant. What is it that, from this experience that you're not impressed that you can kind of take with you now this graduate of the program? What is it that you can take with you?
I think the biggest thing that I can take from this endeavor was football. In terms of the East Coast community and the team, like very well understanding with how to convey my thoughts and what I want to convey, but also trying to take that out to like a broader audience. People like I'm not sure like what they're into or what they enjoy. Definitely would probably be able to do a few find a company video like that. My enthusiasm for the show. Try to kind of put the better part of myself with like deep graphics, and I've been really happy with like the reception, both the compliments, and you finish that really good. So confidence definitely got off biggest thing.
Right, what advice would you give to somebody who's excited about the Kaleidoscope opportunity, but doesn't quite know where to start or doesn't know if their idea is strong enough? What advice would you give them?
I think that if you choose to include my program, your mentors will definitely are capable of you. Whether it's through art class, if you don't have an idea that you aren't, whether you're not confident in or you're not sure like will work, they'll be able to maybe like take that core idea and like put their own shape in something a bit more ideal.
Okay.
Good question. All right, Diamond, do you have a question?
What was your favorite part about the
Yeah, I think was video editing was something like I wasn't really too familiar with, but I sometimes got better at over time. And this high school program came around, so it's kind of like a small big chance to showcase what I can do. And seeing how the video definitely started like so much into the event itself, it was definitely really important to know that the skills like this people not all show up.
All right, one more question.
what software did you use to produce the video and
All really Photoshop and imaging. The visuals all being free and the Photoshop being way too much.
All right. Oh, please, yeah, go ahead, Carol.
Dan mentioned that you were able to access $2,500. I'm sorry if we talked about it already, but I'm hearing and hearing. But can you talk a little bit about how you used the funding to get to where you are today?
So the funding went primarily for the degree. So I did something that was both shown that we got rendering graphics and also the one video as well. The rest of the funds went for a new ability subscription for the year and also a membership of AI training, which is video graphics. We provide workshops and job opportunities for those who become things we want to do and other online institutions as well.
Any other questions before we?
Can we watch the video again?
Troy, would you mind? Show us one more time. Whenever you're ready, Frank.
It's really just a benefit of like a little, basically what inspired me. That's basically my presentation. It's about besides what I did. So starting here, finishing here, I finished on the web team doing front-end development, which kind of sparked my interest for coding. This has nothing to do with coding. This has to do with graphic design, things of that nature. But while in the internship, I was learning how to do 3D modeling, which kind of sparked my interest for this. So going into this, I have confidence in my ability to learn. So I don't know anything about 3D modeling that I should know, but the confidence was there. So I took it as a challenge. What inspired me to take this challenge was I've been doing art my whole life, like just doodling so far. Never really gave it value, kind of just came naturally. I think as humans, when it comes naturally, we kind of don't give it too much appreciation because we kind of just do it, so it comes naturally. We learn it. So with the modeling gave me a different perspective. It gave me a perspective of taking my 2D drawings and turning it into something digital. So, and once it's digital, you can do anything from there. Turn it into a game, turn it into a toy. Wherever your mind goes, and that's how good it's possible. This was my original design. I wanted to do an incense burner. So, as you all know, when you burn an incense, smoke fills the air, blah, 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 blah. This was supposed to be an incense burner. his boot was going to be cut off so it'll be smoke dropping. So incense burning and smoke drops, and it kind of fills the air. This was more so for like my home office. Other young individuals like me who do start corporate, we still have personalities. So we kind of don't want to match the two because one can overweigh the other. So in my home office, I needed this more so to inspire myself because again, my career is separate from what I do as a hobby. And for a hobby, art has always been the biggest outlet for it. So, like I said, I had the confidence knowing where I wanted to go, I just didn't have the skill. So, this was the start. I wasn't really all the way there, the skill set yet. Why? Sorry, I wasn't all the way there with my skills. So, I got halfway there with the basic knowledge that I was taught by him, just modeling from 2D images to 3D. So this I was kind of going in with like no knowledge at all. But the feeling was still there. I still wanted to learn. That's what I kind of did. But halfway through, I realized we could all have the same goal but get to a different. It doesn't make your way right or my way wrong, or vice versa. It's just we all have different limits. This was taking too long for me. So I kind of scratched this because again, for the level of skill that you needed to complete this type of thing, I wasn't there yet, and I'm honest with myself. I'm confident, but I'm not going to do it. So we switched over to doing something a little bit more simple shapes, which was a bazooka. And the bazooka, I chose bazooka because again, yes, the shapes are way more simpler. The turnaround time is way more quicker than me doing a whole human body. Now, the inspiration for the bazooka was the time that we live in. Everything is rough right now. Like, no matter if you're in school, college, no matter, everything is always something. The bazooka kind of gives me joy. The bazooka was brought in World War II during the time when artillery was becoming a big issue. When you all humans were just flesh. This kind of evened the playing field. So this inspired me in the same instance where I don't have the skill level, but I have the confidence and the ability to learn. So that level, the playing field for me. Again, I had to make a turnaround from making this to this, which I was able to do. And this has been sent over to a 3D design team so they can do it for me from their machine, rather than me learning how to do 3D designing and then learning how to use the machine, which I thought was just one skill set, but it's not. You gotta learn how to use the tool before you know what to do with it. So that's kind of where I was. So this was the final product of what it was supposed to be. These are the work in progress where I started. I was like, oh, I think I can do it, and then come to find out it just had nothing to do with what I wanted to do. So, and that was like the middle of the program. So to stop and restart something totally different was kind of like, what am I doing? I got a time limit. So finding the prep time was more so the biggest issue rather than the skill. So I'm still learning my job as well. I'm an apprentice, so I'm learning that work and I'm off of it, still pushing myself to learn 3D modeling. Again, it's not for money, more so for my own peace of mind. I'm doing art for my whole life. I tend to keep it that way. So I started with this, cut it short because I didn't feel it. Another project I started with was 3D, didn't feel it, so we moved on. Now, to sum it all up, to give you guys, I didn't send it in. I had a video of the 3D model, actually where you rotate where you see the whole image. I didn't send it to Instagram, but I do have a product that's not finished yet, but this is what I had.
Frank, thanks for sharing your journey. Would you be able to folks ask some questions about how you?
That's what I want to ask. Any questions? Anything you guys feel like I need to speak on? You got raising.
You think that's something that Astro Boys? That's something Astro Boys?
I think, to be honest with you, it kind of falls on my brand for me. My brand wanted to be, if you come shop with me, you should feel as though you're the only one with this. So more so like, I want people to feel like you're a part of the brand rather than you just purchase it from the brand. So when you buy something from me like this Astro Boy, not something to say no. That's a personal piece of myself. But because it'd probably be a fan favorite, I'll do different editions like different characters. You might like a different character than Astro Boy. You might like Astro Boy. I could do different design, things like that. But to answer your question, yes, but one-on-one for me. So, yeah. Angel?
I feel like making like a line of like mini figurines or things like that with the modeling skills that you've been acquiring.
So that was the initial idea. It was supposed to be desktop tools because again we came from the office, so that kind of spiraled into more ideas like giving the tools actual functions. So rather than it just sitting there collecting dust, you could actually do something with it. So that was kind of yeah. There you go. Say one more time. So to answer your question, Monday I took a class to start learning how to use the 3D machine itself, but no, personally myself, I do the design and I send it over to a team that actually knows how to use it. So I don't break it.
Do you design models for games as well, or is it right now just little figures?
So as of right now, until like I'm given like a commission or something like that, it's more sort of further my skill with 3D design. I am open to different opportunities because it kind of gives me a chance to experiment and grow my skills. So yes, if I was to do gaming, I would be able to do it. And I just want to say another thing. I feel like as artists, we all do different things. We all feel like there's a right way to do it. Like my mentor is pretty great. The biggest thing that she helped me with was bringing value back to things that come to me naturally. Like I said, some of us are great at basketball, we don't care about it because we kind of just do it and we're great at it. It's different when somebody else gives that value back to you. And I think in order for you to receive that value, you gotta want it yourself. So, yeah, that's the piece I want to do there.
Okay, I'd just like to ask, what difference did the Kaleidoscope opportunity make from where you started to where you are today?
The biggest difference was I went from graphic design, like 2D designs, to 3D. So instead of me just doing album covers, posters, gift cards, things like that, I could do things like toys, like physical product rather than just being on paper or digital product. So the 3D kind of turned my imagination into a physical. So
That's great. Well done. Thank you.
appreciate that question.
Can you explain a little bit about your experience with NextFab?
Oh yes. You want the deltas or the pros?
It's all part of the experience.
Sure. So the pros for NextFab. If you guys don't know what NextFab is, it's a creator space. Doesn't matter what your skill is or what you do. If you have the time, you can go take a class to any machine that they have in their building that suits your skill or your field. NextFab is, the team at NextFab is pretty wonderful. When you exclude that you have to pay for everything. Other than that, the relationships are genuinely like grown organically. Rather than being forced because you need to talk to somebody because you may do graphic design or you do coding. Everybody in that space is an artist, so 9 times out of 10, you bump into a random person will help you with your project. When I took my class on Monday, I ran into somebody that did something completely different, but they use the same programs that I have to go talk to the 3D machine with. So hearing about the things that they design like furniture, but specifically cat furniture. So like she works at home, so she designed a chair that's also a house for the cat. So when she's working, the cat can come sit up on the chair and sit next to her. And there's drawers in there. So but she did that using 3D. That's nothing that I want to do. But again, her telling me her experience from what she was doing and the fact that you can use different materials in a 3D project is so like it just opened a whole different can of worms. So being at NextFab was kind of like it helped narrow my focus as to where I need to further myself with 3D, but it kind of opened my brain as to where like I could do CNC machines now, also I could do 3D, and then it's like you could also just make molds where you don't gotta keep doing the design over and over. So it's just like it was pros and cons to it was if you aren't sure about where you want to go with your skills, NextFab you can literally run into anybody and they'll help you kind of figure out the lane. The delta about NextFab is again so much. So you kind of got to know where you want to narrow down your group. Because again, everything's paid for. In order to use the machine, you got to take a class, you got to pay for that. In order to use the machine, you got to pay for that. get them towards their pay back. So again, if you knock out the financial part and just worry about your growth as an artist, all of that kind of just comes like naturally. You're really not bothered by it after. Because again, the skills that I have after leaving the class on Monday, it was worth it. I don't feel like I'm stressed out about the money being lost or anything. The money wasn't lost, it was invested. That's the difference between next fab and a different creator space. It was invested rather than wasted.
I have two things for you. First, certificate for you. Completion of the program. Congratulations. One last thing I'd like to ask you to do is if you could please present this certificate of appreciation to your mentor. Please. And round of applause for Lisa.
Again, a lot of, I'm going to say one sentence, he doesn't know I mean, but we didn't know each other before this program, and I feel like we really connected, and we did a lot of field trips together to art museums, interesting to hear each other's point of view, we bonded over food, so it's been a lot of fun, and we both learned a lot.
Yes. I do want to make one more thing though. For the people who take on a mentor, it's not about just the creative aspect of it. You kind of like, you're grown, you are young. They kind of already completed some of the things that we want to do. So listen, emotionally and like, for yourself. For sure, your mentor is doing your job.
Let's give a whole team.